Scanning for audio.
Welcome to the 3rd anniversary special Tin Dog podcast. I'm sorry about my voice, but I'm sure we can live with that. On the 4th of March this year, the Tin Dog podcast celebrated its 3rd anniversary. I'd like to thank everyone who's been with me since the start, and I'd like to thank everyone as well who's joined me since. Now, I know you don't just listen to me. Most of you subscribe to many, many other podcasts, and that's fine. Absolutely no problem. What you will have noticed, just like me, is that almost all of them went to Gallifrey. I was jealous. I still am. You see, my convention going is kind of, fairly more local. But what I decided to do for this special is show us all how to have a convention at home by yourself and save yourself a bit of cash. So welcome to the guide to having a Doctor Who convention all by yourself. The secret to having a solo con, as we'll call it, is preparation. First off, there are many things which are in your favour when it comes to having a convention all by yourself. Primarily, the most important one is the price of the drinks in the bar. Yes, if you nip out to the corner shop, or indeed the supermarket, and buy the drinks you actually like, bring them home and put them in the fridge, you won't have to queue at the bar. You won't have to put up with the fact that they've got beer that you don't like, and you'll be able to get served very, very quickly. Admittedly, you will have to pour your own drinks out and do your own washing up, but it swings and roundabouts. If you want true authenticity for a convention, I suggest you buy a brand of lager you've A, never tried, or B, don't like, and then pretend that that's all the bar had. It's probably a good idea to go on that way. Now, an important part of most conventions is a screening room. So what I suggest you do is you find one room in the house with a DVD player in it. Put a Doctor Who DVD, taken at random, preferably not one you actually like. Press play, put the commentary track on, leave the room, and never go back into that room for the entire duration of your solo con. That way you know there's a screening room going on somewhere, but you've decided not to go in. Now, a very important part of all conventions is hanging around in corridors. If you're a podcaster, you often hang around in corridors in order to try and get an interview with a random celebrity. You could, of course, pretend that you've hung around in a corridor to try and meet a celebrity, and they've taken a different corridor in the hotel, and what you've done is you've missed them. This is what normally happens at a convention, so therefore it's fairly realistic. Simply hang around every hour for about 5 minutes in your hallway. Stare at something. Look at the contents of your own bag. Yeah. Pass the time. Read a Big Finish short trips book that you've just grabbed off the shelf. Then, once you've hung around and decided that you've waited long enough, head back to the bar, or, as it's known, your fridge. Now, the next part is quite tricky, the autograph queue. What you could do is you can either go on eBay and buy a fake autograph, or you can do your own. It's 6 2/3, and the eBay option is slightly more expensive. Less cynically, you could simply imagine that you didn't hear the call for the autograph queue, and you can then complain about this on Twitter, and you didn't get your autographs. We'll talk about Twitter in a moment. There is an important part of this that I've kind of skipped over, and it's the importance of forgetting your itinerary. Simply spend a week or so working out an incredibly complicated itinerary, working out which rooms in the house you'll be going to, which talks you'll be attending, and the like. Write it all down, use a highlighter pen, or in fact 2 in a variety of colours, and then simply leave it on the bus the day before. Lose it, give it to a friend. Post it to yourself so you get it the next day. It's important that you lose it because that will recreate the convention experience almost perfectly. There is, of course, the random bitching about the organisation of the event. Now, as you've organised this yourself, you will be making most of it up. But as this is what actually happens at most conventions anyway, it's best to use some stock phrases. Couldn't organise a piss-up in a brewery is a classic and is often used by almost everyone at every convention I've ever attended. Simply access your Twitter account from your phone, or because you're at home, your laptop, which would be cheaper. Type in the words, couldn't organise a piss-up in a brewery, and then press send. People reading your Twitter feed will have no idea what you're doing, but what you could do for that level of authenticity is explain what you're doing throughout the day randomly to strangers using Twitter. It's an ideal way of passing the time, especially while hanging around in corridors. You can also announce to the world that such and such star has cancelled, and then bitch about them, despite the fact that they've probably got an extremely good job. Now, it's your solo convention, so you can actually invite people who are dead, because they're not going to turn up either. This is the beauty of the solo con. A couple of more things. First off, the dealer's hall. This is where your solo con really kicks in, because you've already got lots of things that you like, that you spent far too much money on. Again, you can either take a trip on eBay and spend too much money on something that you actually want, or, more likely, write a list down of things you really want, then pretend you've been to a dealer's hall and they didn't have any of them. That way you've saved a bit of cash, but at least you've tried. Conversely, go to the cupboards, have a rummage, find something you'd forgotten you'd bought, and then hug it lovingly for about half an hour. Again, go on Twitter and tell everyone about it. Now, for this next section, the fact that you're listening to a podcast gives me hope that you have access to podcasts. This is the interview section. And thanks to Tony at the Flashing Blade, you can actually pretend that you're at a convention almost for real. Download the interviews with Gary, put them on a little player of some sort, perhaps a CD, and put that in the living room. Play the CD. Now stand at the back of the room and pretend to talk to a friend very loudly about something like Lost or Buffy or something completely unconnected with the event. This will recreate the convention experience almost perfectly. It is best if you ignore the talk that's going on, no matter how interested you are in the speaker, or indeed the speaker's work. It is best, when he's finished speaking, for you to realise that you've missed it, and then kick yourself, and again go on Twitter and complain about it. Before I go, there are two more things. Many conventions have a costume event, most of which are quite fun. Now, because this is a solo convention, you are the judge, you are the only contestant, you are going to win. But in order to create it properly, it is best to hire a small child to dress up as a Dalek, and they will win ahead of you. You can then bitch about it on Twitter. Can you see a particular theme? Conversely, you can just wear your own Doctor Who scarf. Say you've tried not very much, and then win because you're the only person there. And of course, last but by no means least, the closing ceremony. It is vitally important that you miss the closing ceremony. Everyone will talk about it. You will get very jealous of the fact that you missed the closing ceremony. But of course, your hotel kicked you out much earlier than everyone else, and you had a flight to catch. Everyone else, you can imagine, is having some sort of sub-convention in the hallway. This is the hallway where you did most of your standing around at least once an hour. At this point, you can then call an end and pre-book for next year's Solo Con. And so, I'll say thank you for all of the nice messages everyone sent me about the 3rd anniversary. I'll bid you all farewell and speak to you all very soon about the 11th Doctor. The 11th hour, which apparently lasts 65 minutes. Be seeing you.
You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.